everybody. Welcome. So I just blabbered on and I was on mute. So welcome to our live stream. This is fairly impromptu. We are going to be covering Rep. Stava Murray's remarks that she gave yesterday to the Daily Herald at her debate with her challenger, Aaron Porter. Again, the 81st District, hot race for the Illinois legislature. And she gave us a gift of just some wild remarks, and we're going to delve into this. And this issue right now is really affecting pretty much every race going into this November election, from the presidential race to state races, not just in Illinois, but across the country, where people are seeing this very radical agenda against parents, against children. And so people are paying very close attention to who are the candidates right now that are actually going to respect parental rights? Who are the candidates right now who are going to reject this harmful gender ideology that has moved into medicalizing and sterilizing children? So please offer your comments across our social media platforms. We're gonna delve into this in a minute. I'm gonna share across a couple more of our platforms here, this stream, so that I can make sure it's everywhere for you guys to see it. And then I've also invited Alvin with Courage is a Habit to join us later in this live stream, because Courage is a Habit, they're an amazing advocacy organization, amazing tools, amazing resources. And when we went to fight against 4876, this House bill that was filed by Rep. Stava Murray, Alvin and his team, Courage is a Habit, totally helped us out, gave some great graphics that were circulating. And so let's just kind of go into a bit of a backstory with Rep. Stava Murray. Maybe you've heard of her, but if you haven't, it's important to know, whether you're in the state of Illinois or elsewhere, that she is reflective of this very radical contingent known as the Democrat Party, quite honestly, that has really leaned into medicalizing children under this false notion of, quote, gender affirming care. And there are so many amazing advocates that have exploded from this. You have Billboard Chris, so many organizations that have covered this: Courage is a Habit, Parents Defending Education, Moms for Liberty, Do No Harm, Partners for Ethical Care, GenSpect. I'm so fortunate to be inspired by many of the advocates who are working so hard to protect children and who I call friends. So with this House Bill 4876, this was a radical effort to effectively coerce families into leaning into this harmful ideology. So when you look at what 4876, what Rep. Stava Murray attempted to do, she filed this bill, and you can look at the different bullet points here. Illinois parents could have lost custody if this passed, should they refuse to, quote, affirm their children, whether it's through transgender drugs, surgical procedures such as penis, breast removal. This included any medical procedures such as vaccines, abortion, etc. So, without parental consent, that's a possibility here in the state of Illinois, right? And parents who would refuse to affirm their children could have been considered child abusers. This is what Rep. Stava Murray wanted to put into the Illinois state statute. It would have changed the child abuse code to call caring and concerned loving parents child abusers. And so this would have been a devastating bill to have passed in the state of Illinois. We sounded the alarm the minute we heard about this bill being filed. It was Super Bowl weekend, and we rushed to put together some video clips, some graphics. Courage is a Habit joined us that month. And it was just a full-on empowerment, advocacy, grassroots lobby effort. And what we did was we put a form at awakeil.com where citizens could put their remarks on record directly to Rep. Stava Murray and to the entire committee where this was filed. So this sent a huge message from citizens around the state, also within her district, to say, no, we do not want this anywhere near the Illinois legislature. We do not want you changing the code to call us parents child abusers. And so we did this amazing effort where our live streams actually launched originally, titled Protect the Kids live stream. And we had members of the gay community, transsexual community, medical community, physician, pediatric physician, parents, just such a diverse grouping of people with so many different perspectives all coming together to protect the children. And Rep. Stava Murray, you'll see in the remarks that she gives in this Daily Herald debate yesterday with Aaron Porter, her Republican challenger, who, by the way, seems like the nicest guy. He seems like a totally normal dad. He's a police officer. His wife is a nurse. I've never met him, but he honestly just seems so normal. And how refreshing that could be for not just the 81st district, but for probably any race right now that's happening on your ballot. But her remarks are so interesting. And I think what you'll see is she is, number one, she's nervous. Number two, she's sort of trying to be a mean girl. I don't know if she's really a mean girl, but that's certainly the vibe you get. And I am living rent-free in her head because she brought my name into this debate. Me as a private citizen who advocates for children, I'm just a mom. And so we'll get into this, but this is the background. And so I'm going to check the comments. I don't know if any of you, nobody's commented yet, but feel free to offer your comments because I know a lot of you were really upset about this. You were really upset that this could have come to Illinois, and through you being empowered to speak up through the form that we gave you and circulate all this information, you said no. And there's so much power in the voice of the people. I know a lot of times people feel sort of doomer and negative or pessimistic, but this worked. This worked really, really well, and the message was sent. And eventually what happened is the Democrat Party, they didn't want to sponsor this with her. They didn't support her at all on this. They stayed away from it. And certainly in an election year, with this being a losing issue across the country, politicians should not want to be on the side of leaning into gender ideology at all. They should be absolutely working with parents to protect children. You see members of the Democrat Party, Rep. Sean Theory out of Texas, they're leaving the Democrat Party because they do not want to be complicit in this wicked, evil agenda that is preying on children. So we're going to talk more about some updates related to that in just a minute. But it was fascinating to see Rep. Stava Murray on her Facebook page and some of her social media engagement around the time that people were giving her pushback on House Bill 4876. So she said to one person on Facebook, trans kids go through irreversible damage from a puberty that doesn't match their gender identity every day in this country. To ignore that damage further harms trans children and puts them at risk for the mental health issues you purport to care about. Giving access to life-saving gender-affirming care should be the standard. There is a lot to unpack in her comment. And what I have certainly learned in my listening tour of detransitioners who have abandoned this harmful medicalization of their bodies, parents who have navigated this journey with their children, physicians who are navigating this journey with patients, clinicians who are navigating this journey, they all agree, stop saying trans child. There is no such thing as a trans child. You can look at this graphic here. There is no such thing as a trans child. Billboard Chris infamously says this often. There are two sexes, male and female, zero genders, and infinite personalities. And that's such a brilliant way of putting this whole paradigm in which we found ourselves. So Rep. Stava Murray needs to get some education, and I would challenge her to listen to detransitioners and to families that have gone down this path and learned so much, too often the hard way, through physical harm that has been done to them, mental harm that has been done to them. So she's saying that puberty is damaging. Nothing could be further from the truth. So I encourage people to go back to our Protect the Kids live streams at awakeil.com/fight, because we invited pediatric endocrinologists. We invited, so many different perspectives to really tackle this issue from a perspective of compassion and from truth. So Rep. Stava Murray got very frustrated. She started calling people names. She said to me, bigot's gonna bigot. You don't get credit for not moving this bill forward. She mentions that in her Daily Herald remarks. So we'll hear her talk about this. But she said, trans youth deserve support in healthcare, and I will continue to fight for that in every way possible. Again, there's no such thing as trans youth. There are confused youth. There are youth who deserve the utmost of compassion and ethics when it comes to treating them, and when it comes to respecting parental rights on this issue. And of course, the growing field of advocates who are saying this has to stop. Europe stopped it. Tavistock Gender Clinic closed. They stopped this because they saw the harms that were done. Mia Hughes has talked about the WPATH physicians, pulled back the curtain on that organization. We have WPATH doctors in the state of Illinois who are engaged in this harmful medicalization of children. So Rep. Stava Murray is leaning into this wrongly, and parents and constituents, certainly in her district, are very, very upset with her. So I think this is a hotter race than people would otherwise like to see, particularly for her, a candidate that has more than $2 million that she's raised as a state representative. So I can't wait for you guys to hear some of her remarks. Again, when you look at how this empowerment effort from Awake Illinois really woke up a lot of people on this gender ideology issue, again, that live stream series, please watch all of the people who joined us. They're such phenomenal, beautiful people, all walks of life, all coming together to protect the kids. So through this awareness, we were able to make sure that House Bill 4876 didn't move. And not just that, it shed light on the Democrat Party of Illinois being all in on this. And voters are challenging their policymakers and the candidates on their ballot, saying, hey, where do you fall on this issue? Will you respect my parental rights to defend my children against this harmful ideology? So ask those questions, especially as we get into the local races, April 1st, 2025, with school board elections.
Opponent.
So here we have one of the first times that Rep. Stava Murray at yesterday's debate through the Daily Herald, she mentions my name, and there was no context for it. It was just in some closing remarks she was trying to give. So let's listen to her first lean into being quite cranky over the work I've done to empower you on how to protect your children.
Opponent embraced someone who is a hate group leader, Shannon Adcock of Awake, Illinois, on his community page, state rep community page, and thank her for her comments on his own bigoted post.
Okay, so she calls me a hate group leader of Awake, Illinois. If we had a dollar, all of us leaders across the country who have worked so hard to empower you to protect your children, that equals hate. So if we had a dollar, oh my gosh, our organization would be rife. We'd have a building made out of gold. But she's throwing these names around. She's trying to instill a false narrative into this debate. And she's mentioning a post where her opponent, Aaron Porter, around the time that Rep. Stava Murray went to file House Bill 4876, he put a snapshot of what the text of that bill was. And I'll take you to it right now. And he basically offered his own perspective on this bill, which, as somebody who is running in that district, should absolutely share their perspective, right? This is the opposing party to Rep. Stava Murray. And as it turns out, an opposing ideology entirely from her viewpoint, where Stava Murray thinks that you as parents are bigots, hate group people, simply for protecting your children. And if you look, he put the code here on his Facebook post, and she's calling it a bigoted post. So apparently when you share information and you share truth, according to Rep. Stava Murray and largely the entire Democrat Party, you are a bigot. So if you're speaking truth, if you're looking to protect your child, just know sticks and stones, you're going to be called names. And Rep. Stava Murray is trying to use this same tattered page in a really torn up playbook of, well, I don't like what you have to say, and you're telling everyone about this bill that I filed, and you're a bigot. All right, whatever. So Aaron made a statement, and he said, we need to let parents raise their own children and keep these decisions out of politicians' hands. Amen. Isn't that beautiful, simple, eloquent? That's all he's saying. Why would we ever agree to a bill that calls concerned, loving parents child abusers? So I said right here, as you can see, this was back in February. Well said. Thank you, sir. This is what Stava Murray is labeling bigotry, hate. She's very upset. And I love being able to show you this because it sort of pulls away this like veil of the left and Stava Murray and Pritzker and all of their ilk to try and somehow scare us away because, ooh, you called us bigots. We have all the receipts, you guys. Like, knock this off. It's not working. It just, you look stupid. Stupid or lying. I think a little bit of both right now. So And Stava Murray is just going to call anyone a bigot who dares to protect children. The end. If we had $1.
And further, for someone who takes their money from.
So here, I want to take you through this. Were you able to hear the audio, hopefully, from the first one? Can somebody just drop me a comment so I can make sure? I think you should have been able to hear it, but I'm going to turn up the volume. So as this Daily Herald debate continued yesterday, she's trying to jab. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. You can hear. So she's trying to jab at Aaron, and she mentions alleged donors to Aaron's campaign. All candidates take donors from private citizens, from all sorts of people. And Stava Murray has taken more than $2.7 million. That's quite a campaign chest from Democrats and special interest groups. And so I just want, it's not really necessarily pertaining to the whole advocacy message or her war on children, but it's just the hypocrisy of the Democrats that I just can't let it go. So I want you to hear her try and like criticize Aaron for having donors.
And further, for someone who takes their money from people like Ozinga and the billionaire, they want those things. So you think that money is going to keep coming to you next round if you don't vote in the way that they want?
Dead silence. So many people have commented on her manner of voice, and I don't want to relegate the conversation to that, but there is something grating about billionaire. Please. 2.7 million in the coffers. Aaron is like a total grassroots candidate, nicest guy, police officer. Like she's trying to paint him as this like terrible person. Give me a break. Oh, audience, audio was hard on that one. She's just complaining about how he has donors, and I'm going to show you all of these links later. You can click on it. You can see where Anne gets all of her money from. Tons of money. But she's just very cranky. It's hilarious. So as the debate goes on through the Daily Herald, Aaron's just giving his platform. He's just trying to tell you who he is, what he's about. Again, such a normal sounding guy. 81st House District, just spread the word, because Aaron, he does not have the millions of dollars that Ann Stava Murray has, and he does not want to come after your children or you. You know, he supports parents. So I want you to hear his remarks, because he's just such a nice guy. It would be so great to see him in office. Let's listen to what he has to say.
To fight for the rights that other people deserve. I wanted to be that same person. I wanted to help people from marginalized communities. I wanted to help children with special needs. All of these things help me understand, the need for public service. I'm a police officer now. My wife is a nurse. It's something we've been doing our whole lives. I want to try to do that for the area in which I live. And the first way I decided to do that was to run for state representative. We need a more diverse population of thinkers in Springfield. There's a lot of lawyers, there's a lot of farmers, a lot of business owners, a lot of smart people down there. But there's not a lot of police officers. And police reform is one of the biggest issues in our state right now. I want there to be an equal voice downstate. I want there to be a different perspective. And I think I could be that person. I believe, for someone who's so data driven, on the other side, that data is just data. I don't make up the numbers. I say 1% to 2% because that's what the numbers are saying. And talking to voters, they're concerned about taxes.
Real quickly, he was being challenged earlier in this debate by Rep. Stava Murray when he said that the abortion issue only polled at about 1% or 2% in that district, and she was very upset. She said that she was insulted. She was insulted that more people aren't obsessed with abortion like she is and the Democrat Party. And he moves on to talk about the issues that he's hearing from constituents when he door knocks, and that I hear all across the state, around the country, from regular people who are very worried about their communities. So he goes in to talk about that.
They're concerned about affordability. They're concerned about safety going to downtown areas of my district. There's been 3 carjackings in the last couple years in my area, in our district that we share, that we are neighbors in. And regardless of a differencing in opinion on semantics of definitions of things, we have a common goal, and that's to make Illinois and our district a really important place to live.
See, he's just such a normal guy. So likable. And this is what I'm hearing from the 81st district, that Aaron is like a regular dad. He just wants the community to do well. He's speaking to the issues that are driving people to the ballot. And so just spread the word about Aaron.
Don't need to do that.
So,
was never intended to.
Sorry. Oh, that voice. Okay. So this is where it starts to get really, really good. And when I heard that this debate was happening, somebody was texting me, Shannon, she mentioned your name. And then I got like a flood of messages, Shannon, she mentioned your name. And I was like, what is this all about? Well, clearly you can see as she begins to talk about this bill, Aaron challenges her on her ideology, on her platform, and she starts to deflect. And all I can see happening in this moment is sheer panic. Total panic. Because she's being held to account for one of the most radical bills ever attempted in the Illinois state legislature, all in on calling parents child abusers for protecting their children from sterilization and medicalization. Listen to her voice and watch her facial features. And I know that Alvin is probably going to come on pretty soon from Courage is a Habit. I know we could spend a lot of time on this, so we may go back to it if we get through it here. But just listen.
The bill I filed was never intended to move. It was filed in contrast to bills in North Carolina that are doing the exact same thing, except if you support your gay child, you're jailed.
You file bills because you want to. You file bills.
I filed a bill.
That's truly.
Okay, so let's break this down. Now she's saying that she was just filing something because of what happened in North Carolina. That has nothing to do with the Illinois state legislature. She is trying to smoke and mirror this in epic fashion, and she's failing. And Aaron, to his credit, is saying, hold on, I'm looking to be a representative for my community, and you're telling us that you're filing bills frivolously. And he's basically saying, like, why would you do that? Why would you just file something frivolously? Oh, but he catches on to her.
The political statement.
And when you file them, you don't need to do that. You don't need to make statements and national decision making on taxpayer dollars. That's not what filing bills is necessary.
Filing a bill.
You didn't want to file the bills. You
Her
didn't
face.
want to file and write the laws in which nobody co-sponsored with you.
Nobody
There's
did.
no reason to even write it in the first place. You wrote it because it's what you truly believe. It's truly what you want to do if you win after.
Boom. He is absolutely right. She filed 4876 because she believes that children should be mutilated and sterilized under gender affirming care, which is disgusting, evil, and wicked, removes healthy breasts of growing children, mutilates their genitals. She believes in that 100%. And she was going all around social media in February when she filed this, calling anyone who disagreed with her a bigot. She never once mentioned North Carolina. She never once mentioned that this was just me just kind of filing things because of North Carolina. No, she believes in it. And props to Aaron Porter for saying you believe in this. And because she does. She can't backtrack it. I want to hear that again.
If you win
it wasn't what I truly believe. It wasn't what I truly believe.
You win
it was
after
an
this
idea
election,
from a trans youth in North Carolina.
If you do get in January, it is mine and many other people's in the district's belief that you will put it back through. So don't write bills that you have no intention of bringing to the floor.
That's quite a lie to say that I will bring it back and push it through. That is an absolute downright lie.
Okay, so now she's saying he's lying when he says you believe in this and that you would push a bill like this again. So here we go. It's kind of like the bigot thing. Like, well, I don't like what you're saying, so it's a lie.
The bill did not move at all at my own request. So if you're
Look at that. I don't know if all of you are watching this, but you have to go back and watch it if you're just listening to the audio, because look at her face. In her mind, she's saying Awake Illinois and Shannon Adcock and all those live streams, all those people who joined us on the live streams, protected the kids, all of us who came together. She knows that that is what stopped 4876. And she's like, at my own request. No, you got spanked on this, Anne. And that was because we hustled and people from all around the state and the country came together to say, don't you dare. Watch her pause where she's like frozen when she says, at my own request.
at my own request. So if you're telling people I'm going to bring the bill back, you're lying to their faces.
That's not what I said. I said, I believe you will do it.
Okay, you're lying.
No, beliefs can't be lies. They're beliefs.
Okay, but I'm telling you, I'm never bringing that bill back.
Okay.
Now you are lying.
No, it's a belief.
Do you hear me laugh in the recording?
Listen
Sorry.
to Shannon Adcock more. Have fun with her.
I believe it's important.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack here. We need to go back again. So she is saying that he's a liar because he believes that she absolutely is leaning into this agenda and that she would do it again. And he's like, no, this is what I believe. This is my perspective. And she's like, you're a liar. Oh my gosh. One more time.
Are lying.
No, it's a belief.
Okay, listen to Shannon Adcock more. Have fun with her.
Have fun with her. I mean, I got to be honest, Anne, I am a lot of fun. Given the choice between you and I in a room together, I don't know. Who would you rather hang out with? But she's obviously upset because she got spanked. And her bill brought so much light to the gender ideology, the wicked agenda of it in the state of Illinois and beyond, because this made national news. And I have to tell you, the silence from Pritzker on that bill was deafening. It's an election year. He probably thought he was going to maybe be able to replace Biden on the ballot. Wah, wah, wah. And she was kind of in all these pictures with him and all of these different things. And nobody came to her rescue. Nobody leaned into this and said, hey, this is a great thing to talk about, mutilating and sterilizing children. Nope. She got no support. So she's on an island right now, and you can tell she's frustrated because my organization, at which I am at the helm, spanked 4876. Listen to Shannon Adcock. Yeah, listen. Listen to the people who are protecting children, and listen to the detransitioners who have suffered so much harm from this ideology. How about you listen?
Listen to Shannon Adcock more. Have fun with her.
I believe it's important to communicate and to engage with the people who communicate with me online. That's all.
She's a hate group leader who has
Someone
caused
shared-
a lot of harm in the 81st district, who caused Proud Boys to show up at the District 99 library hearings.
Okay, so now she's getting into the whole the leftist playbook of any parent who stands for children or any grassroots leader of a parental rights organization is somehow connected to all of this made-up boogeyman nonsense. She's lying. You want to talk about lying? Ann Stava Murray is a liar. And she has all these minions that have tried to create these narratives against not just me, but anyone who has challenged her or her party's ideology. Proud Boys. It's like all these made up boogeyman scenarios. What is she talking about here? She's lying. All of our advocacy is so transparent, you guys. And if anyone even strayed from the slightest bit of walking the ethical line, trust me, they would pounce on us in a minute. But we're clean. We are absolutely people of integrity. We're normal, just good people. And she's making up this boogeyman situation and giving me like magical power. If you listen to her, she makes it seem like I am somehow like this like powerful force in the 81st district. I mean, I'm almost kind of like complimented by it, quite honestly, that she's proclaiming I have some like magical power over the 81st district. So let's listen to the rest of that.
Library hearings. Boys to show up at the District 99 library hearings.
Hold on.
It's caused a lot of harm in the 81st district.
I've caused harm.
Who caused Proud Boys to show up at the District 99
Nonsense.
library hearings.
Nonsense.
So much so that I had to pass a bill about not banning books in our state. That's what we've been dealing with in the 81st district. And that's how I've been taking care of people. I also have been taking care of the kids by making sure that I vote on capital.
Okay, it just starts to get cringe because she's like grasping at straws at this point. But again, it's that playbook of we're going to make anyone who sheds light on truth, who speaks with poise and professionalism, we're going to call them a bigot and spread lies and falsehoods about them being aligned with any number of fake boogeymen. And she fails here. She fails in epic fashion because this is the same strategy over and over and over again. And it's why when Awake Illinois launched, our slogan has always been, we cannot be canceled. So when all of these messages came flooding in about Stava Murray mentioning me, all I could think was, oh my gosh, we're going on, it'll be in 2025, 4 years of this. And they haven't changed their playbook once. It's like when you look at film, if you're on a football team and you look at film, it's like you're watching a team do the same play every single time. Of course, you're going to spank them because you know exactly what moves they're going to make and you're going to get the ball from them and you're going to make a touchdown. So this was a huge touchdown for all of you in the state and anywhere else, really, who stands up to these weak people who are evil and want to see children mutilated and sterilized, and they call you names. Ooh. You're as scary as this ghost on my mug. You ain't got nothing, Stava Murray. And woke doesn't have anything. It's a dying ethos because you've come for our children, and we will never forget it. So I wanted to shed light on Anne because she's very cranky, and I genuinely believe that Aaron has a pretty good shot here. He doesn't have her millions, but he's on the right side of this issue. There's no question. So Anne, if you take a look at her in all of her beautiful glory, she believes that parents are child abusers for not agreeing to this mutilation as photographed here in this terrible, heartbreaking photo of a young girl, a female, who has had her healthy breasts removed. And you see the scars. I have a very hard time not getting emotional when I consider that we are in a time where a woman who is a mother herself refuses to acknowledge that she is complicit in some of the most evil crimes taking place in the medical field today. And she believes that you as parents are abusive if you protect your children from this. That's who Stava Murray is. You look at Aaron, he doesn't have the political coffer that she does of funds, but he respects parents who choose to protect children from this mutilation. So there you have it, the two candidates for the Illinois House. Which side are you on when you go to your ballot? I hope you're on the side of protecting children, Downers Grove in the 81st district. I really do. The good news is there were some people posting on Twitter that in their area where Aaron Porter is running, they're seeing a lot of his signs. He is a police officer, he is a dad, and he's doing some really, really good work campaigning just as a regular grassroots guy. So, ooh, I see my friend. Are you ready, friend? Here we have Alvin with Courage is a Habit. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's up?
Shannon? So good to see you.
Oh,
this is super last minute.
Oh, hey, no problem. You know, anytime I get to talk about child mutilation advocates, like your buddy over there, man, she hates you.
She hates me. I think she loves to hate me. I think she loves to hate me. I don't know what she would do if she didn't have well-spoken, poised parents out there speaking truth. What would she do with her time? She's got to, fill it calling us all bigots and haters. So you're welcome, Anne. I'm not going to stop. You'll have good content to spread your name calling. Well, I just went through a lot of her remarks. Did you catch any of it?
Yeah, I heard some of it. I
Okay.
heard some of it. She's crazy. Yeah, you're funny about her voice. That makes me laugh. That's funny.
Yeah,
You know,
they're very effective.
when they call Courage is a Habit hate groups and stuff, or they try to tag like, little journalists and things like that to try to come after us, I always share the little certificate we made for ourselves when the SPLC labeled us a hate group.
Mm-hmm.
Because to my knowledge, we were the youngest organizations the youngest organization they labeled a hate group. So when people call us that,
we
I'm
were
like,
right behind you. We were right behind you.
you were right behind. Yeah, you were right behind us. Yeah, because we were about a year and a half old when they gave us that honor. So
That's
when people call us
fantastic.
that, I go, we already got the highest honor. What are you
I
gonna do?
know. It's the same tattered playbook. I say it all the time. And what I want to remind people about, though, Alvin, and you know this better than anybody, like, is you get people who are new to speaking up for their children. Maybe they're
Yeah.
parents of younger children,
Yeah.
or they've just come into the light, at this point.
Yeah.
To be called names at first is very hard for some people, and you have amazing tools to give them the courage to make Courage a Habit. That's literally your organization's name.
Yeah.
But I get that at first it's a little bit unsettling, because all you're doing is speaking truth. Like, if you were literally going around calling people bad names without backing it with data or other things, like, that's just going to be bad. But when you're speaking truth and you're doing the right thing and you're getting called a bigot, some people are like, whoa, like, where did this come from? But we've been in the thick of it for 4 years. And it's like, look, we're still standing tall, Alvin. Like, we're laughing. Yeah. Our kids are good. Like, we're seeing all of this momentum. Like, no, don't let that get to you.
Yeah. So here's the example I give for people that gets in there. So there's two things. Number one, the reason why people feel bad about getting called names is because they're genuinely good people. And so what we say often is that they weaponize your kindness and your empathy. And we don't have an oppression problem in this country. We have an idiot empathy problem. Or a chronic empathy problem, if you want to be nicer. But the only reason why people feel bad is because your kindness is being weaponized.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna stop you there for 1 second. It says broadcast not available on Twitter. So I just want to see if I need to refresh something really quickly.
Your broadcast is not available on Twitter? Let's see.
It says check X to make sure the stream is okay.
Yeah.
Create a new live stream or remove destination from the stream and then re-add it. Let me just see what I can do here. Isn't that weird?
You know what? You did get kicked out. That's weird. I've never seen that. I use StreamYard all the time.
We're too close to the truth, Alvin. So maybe what I'll do is I'll remove it and then re-add it. Let me just do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's still streaming on our other platforms, but I just want to see if I can refresh it.
Right. How many platforms are you streaming on?
So Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, but I've never had this happen before. So that's just like really weird.
You're still on Facebook? They let you stream on Facebook? What the hell?
Dude, I don't know. It's like, I'm shocked. Every day I'm like, surely we're going to get the boot.
Sure, yeah. How are you still streaming on Facebook?
I don't know. It's so wild. But I think that it says, oh, wait, an error occurred. Wait a moment and then go live. Let me see if it can go live right now.
We use.
I can't miss my Twitter people. My Twitter people need to see this because they're.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're engaged.
For sure.
It's not letting me, Alvin.
What? I've never seen that.
Weird?
Jen and I do right? We do it takes
all the time.
We never got kicked off on any stream, and especially if you're still streaming on the other stream, but X kicks you out.
Yeah, let me go to Facebook. This is what happens with live technology, y'all. Just bear with us.
Yeah. Hey, there's no editing here.
We're on the fly.
Yeah. Wow. Yep.
Let me see if it's
your stream did.
Oh no, it's still going. It's still going on Facebook. Oh wait, now let me see. Hold on. Let's check Twitter now. I think it might be back up. Let's see.
Your stream died on the broadcast not available. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Well, so now we have a decision to make. Do I close everything out and reboot?
Like, close it out.
Wait, it says live. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, we're back.
No, you did? It reconnected?
It's got like a weird link to it. Do you see
We'll
that?
start. It's
No.
on a replay. I can see you're on a replay. So X treats you like you're gone and you're just doing a replay now.
Do you see? It says 17 seconds ago. There's like a link.
Mm-mm.
Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. I just want to make sure.
No, yeah, I think, yeah, you definitely got to get on X. So what? Oh, no, you're back now.
Do you see it? But I don't
Yep.
see like the actual video going. Do
No,
you?
we're back.
Do you see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I see
All
it.
right.
I'm watching us now.
Okay. All right. So thanks for, I don't know, really weird technical difficulties. Just X went out on our stream as Alvin was talking. So we want to make sure we got everyone back on. It's been streaming everywhere else, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. But
it's me.
all right. I guess we're back on Twitter. Yeah. Alvin, you're the one.
Hey, they hate us. That's all right. I thrive on it.
They hate us because they ain't us. All right. So you were going down a path. I don't know if you remember if you remember where you were,
Yeah.
but you can go back to that point.
We were talking about how when people get involved initially, getting called names is such a jarring thing.
They're nice.
Yeah. And it's very understandable. And so what I tell people is this: the reason why it's so jarring when people call you names is because you're a good person. Yeah. You're a good person. And so we don't have an oppression problem in this country. We have an idiot empathy problem. And we have our kindness weaponized. We have our compassion weaponized. Mm-hmm. Because if you're a regular, normal, decent person, if someone says, hey, you hurt my feelings, you will go, oh, okay. And then you will listen. And if someone said, because you said this and it really hurt my feelings, or you really, really offended me, as a good person, you will try your best to not do that. And that's okay if you're having a good faith conversation. Mm-hmm. However, what I want to tell parents that are getting involved today is that the people coming after your kids, they are not operating in good faith. When they call you a racist, a bigot, a transphobe, those words don't mean anything to them. They don't mean what it means to you. So when someone calls you a bigot, you think, oh, it means I'm this and this. These words for them is a weapon, not a label.
Right.
You take it as a label or some kind of indictment on your character. They use it as a knife to shut you up.
That's right. It's an intimidation tactic for sure.
Right. So you have to look at it that way. It's kind of like people who are narcissistic or abusers. They use all these tactics to they know they did something wrong, but they're trying to put it back on you, blame
gaslight you. Yeah.
Gaslight you. So for parents who get involved in this, I want you to know that if they're not calling you names, then you're not protecting your kids, because that means they don't believe that you're doing anything. And so if you're soft and you're doing
the you as weak
around, yeah, that's when they know they can come after your kids, because they know that you're afraid of these labels. So here's the analogy I always give. If you and your friend, okay, so let's say you and your friend or you and your spouse are walking down the street, you're going to dinner in a city, and this crazy person jumps out at you, this homeless nut, this drunk comes out at you. And he goes, you're a bigot, racist, and you're killing kids. Just jumps out at you. You oh my God, right? And you walk across the street, and then you continue walking to dinner. For the next 30 seconds or a minute, both of you might be like, oh man, we got to be careful when we walk back. We got to keep our eyes open. We're in a city. You might do that. But after a minute or two, and you kind of realize he's not following you, right? You'll laugh about it, go to dinner, and you'll never talk about it. You and your friend wouldn't talk about it the whole dinner. You probably wouldn't even say much about it when you get home. Now, people go, I don't like to be called those names. Racist, bigot, transphobe. And they go, I don't like those words, I don't want someone in my community calling me that. And I'm going to say, those words don't mean anything to you. Because if those words meant something to you, it would mean something when the crazy, drunk, homeless person said it to you. Why didn't you feel like, oh my God, I better go back and explain to the drunk homeless person I'm not a racist bigot killing kids? You don't turn around and tell them that. Why? Because you don't give a shit about what he said because he's a nut. I am telling you that the people, these child mutilation advocates, the CRT losers, all these woke white women, all those people in the community calling you that, they are crazier than the drunk homeless guy.
Yeah.
If you don't care when the drunk homeless guy calls you that, you for sure don't care when these people are coming after your kids calling you that. So my point to give you that analogy is that the words itself doesn't mean anything. It's the value you put into the people calling you that.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you know if you know someone who hates you and who's jealous of you, and they say something, you're going to go, of course, I'm not going to listen to that. But if it's your best friend, your sister, your sibling, and they say, hey, you said this the other day, and I don't think that sounded good. You're going to listen because you're going to give value to your sibling or your sister or your best friend. So everybody's got to understand words are just words. It's the value that we give them. If you don't care if a drunk, crazy, homeless person jumps out at you saying it, then you shouldn't care when these abusers and groomers come and say it. And you should care even less. And so that's how I want everyone to look at labels. They're just crazy nut jobs trying to use those labels to silence you.
Beautiful. I love that. So over the course of this journey to empower parents and to challenge these policymakers on radical stuff like House Bill 4876, you have highlighted, the dangers of inclusive language. And so you're wearing that hat, embrace exclusion. Before I show this tweet where you were challenging a nut job, right, on exposing children to
pedophile support.
The pedophile. So can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned this at the GenSpect panel, about good parenting means that you will embrace exclusion. Can you talk about that for parents, please?
Sure, absolutely. So I open this now with every speech I give now. And so for those of you out there who have kids, I want to ask you a question. When you first brought your baby home, especially the first one, how many people did you let hold your baby? How many people? Probably not very many. You might let your sister, maybe your mother. You probably didn't even let your husband hold the baby too much. So you let very few people hold your baby. If you were, you're in a stroller and, he's 3 months old. If a stranger comes up and says, oh, the baby's so cute. Very few strangers would ask you this. But if you did have a stranger say, can I hold him? You're going to say, well, no, he's 3 months old. And then when the baby starts crawling in his own house, he is excluded from 95% of his own house. He can go to the playpen. He can go to his crib. And then maybe he has a little area that you section off that he can crawl around in when he starts crawling. So even in his own home, he's excluded from 90% of his home. Then when he gets older, you curate what he can watch on whatever, if you have a, whatever you maybe have a DVD or something, or you have some streaming that you let him watch, but it's very, very obviously very exclusive and very narrow. Then when they get older, you also curate their friends because you want to make sure that they have good friends. So anyway, the point of it is on and on and on. Good parenting has always been about exclusion.
Yes.
Good parenting has always been about exclusion. And it is so natural. Nobody needs to read a book about it. No one needs to go, I wonder what Awake Illinois thinks about this. Nobody. No one goes, can I hold your 6-month-old baby? And they go, you know what? I'm not sure. Let me go to a live stream and see what Shannon thinks about it. Nobody. No one has to do that. Nobody has to do that.
Right. Yeah. So stop being gaslit. Yeah.
Nobody has to go, a few doors down, there's this guy. He's kind of creepy. He's always having people over and is up all night. I tell the kid, hey, don't ride your bike down that side. Okay. Good parenting has always been about exclusion. So we know this. Then we take our kids, we bring them to a building that says school. All of a sudden, these government employees point a finger at your face and say, what's the matter? You don't want inclusion? Are you a bigot? And then we go, oh my gosh, we should be inclusive. What the fuck do you mean? Little kids, the most important thing for little children is to be exclusive. because they're young. They have no accountability to anybody. They have no experience. They have no wisdom. They don't have any discernment because they're little kids. Teaching your children to be kind is not a priority, especially today, is teaching them how to draw boundaries because they cannot get out of situations if they get into a bad situation. Being
That's right.
exclusive and your parenting, teaching children to embrace exclusion is the most important thing. And then as they get older, obviously, they have a little more wisdom and they can open a little bit. But these groomers and these pedophile supporters have weaponized our kindness on our empathy and says, you must embrace inclusion. You got to teach kids to be accepting of people different than them, on and on and on. And they have written that all the way to these transgender trafficking bills.
Oh, yeah, it's all connected. It's all connected. And
These
they're
transgender
trying.
trafficking bills only exist because people are too kind and they're too afraid to say no. There's no such thing as a trans child.
Right. And the lesson, though, I think that with the turning of the tide and with work that you do and that Awake Illinois is doing, parents are finding their voice and saying, oh, hell no. Right. They're saying, oh, it's gone too far. But it's been like the frog has been slowly boiled. And so now people are starting to see that, whether it is the agenda in K through 12 classrooms, in the clinical world with counselors. And I think that this bill is actually a desperate push to say, okay, well, if you parents are going to try and put your foot down, we're just going to put it in the law that we're going to call you child abusers. Right.
That's
so that was almost like a desperate move to be like, well, if they're not going to go along with it, we have to force it into law. But we stopped it. And again, we have to thank Courage to Have It in your team for just being such strong allies in that battle. I know Rep Stava Murray hates you as much as she hates us. I'm surprised she didn't mention your name. But I know that, she's very frustrated that this good work is being done. So good job. So I'm going to show here for everybody the ilk that we are dealing with people basically endorsing pedophilia. Why don't you walk us through what we're going to see here? Or do you want me to just show it?
No, I'll walk you through. Yeah. So this pedophile supporter, we had released a exposure of CICUS. And so my partner and co-founder, Jennifer McWilliams, a lot of you obviously know her and a lot of people do. She had been researching and digging into CICUS forever. And we finally put out a tool exposing CICUS and what it is. And there's a federal bill that they want to pass called REA. But anyway, we put that out, we pushed it all around, and this pedophile came out and tried to defend CICUS. And so, I said, well, you have such a big mouth. Why don't you come on a live stream and come defend it? And up until, I've only had 3 people ever take me up on this, on 3 or 4
3 more than I would have expected.
3 more, and they've been recent and they've been different. They've been all different. And so 3 or 4 people have taken me up on it. I've never had a child mutilation advocate take me up on it. I've never had it's not happening. CRT is not happening person. Never sent that. Never had that. Never had an SCL. It's not about delivering all this junk. It's just about managing emotions. Never had that. So I've had a so this guy gets on and he tried his best to throw every deconstruction tactic, every false equivalent at me. And obviously I know them all. And I use that to show everybody that his attitude, while it might seem extreme to people watching, they're like, well, he's just this one predator. But his attitude is exactly what's in our schools. The teachers, the school counselors, the social emotional learning, all that stuff,
and legislators and policymakers like Stava Murray.
Exactly. And they're using his same tactic. So when you watch him in this little clip, it's easy to go, he is obviously a predator. But I wanted to share that the attitude he has is the same as Murray, it's the same as Pritzker, it's the same as all the school counselors, the teachers, the inclusion, empathy, belonging, acceptance, same thing. And so
Amazing.
so listen to how I set him up on this and how I just let him walk himself into it.
Okay.
Why do you think this is okay? Why do you think that? Come on.
Because it's not an issue, bro.
Why?
Why would it be an issue?
So you don't think kids look?
No. Answer the question.
Okay?
Answer the question. What is wrong with this picture?
You know what? I guess to you is nothing. Let me ask you, do you think parents should teach children that this is wrong?
No.
Do you think schools should teach them that they should accept this?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Because
Otherwise, they're
children
just a
need to
fucking
be more
bully.
accepting.
Yes, we should be accepting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, you might not have heard him because I try not to talk over them when they're kind of telling on themselves. But I said, do you think schools should teach them to be accepting? And he goes, yes, otherwise it's just fucking bullying. That's what he said. So anti-bullying, be kind. Be kind. Your feelings matter. We see you. You're hurt. You're valued. All those soft things that seemed like it was good, it was all to set this up. That's all it was. It was all to get it was all to marinate parents, marinate their defenses down. Inclusion, belonging. And so now parents forgot that the single most important thing about good parenting is exclusion. That's always been that way. This is why we have they spent billions on this. This isn't just a couple of books and a couple of flyers. They spent billions on this through social emotional learning to marinate parents' defense down. Guilt, attack, guilt, gaslight.
Right.
Weaponized.
To the point that this man is validating schools teaching children in kindergarten about a man cross-dressing and gyrating and showing his genitals. That's where we are. And if you don't agree with that, you're a bully.
You're a bully. This is what the transgender trafficking bills was all built on. Remember, these transgender trafficking bills that you're fighting, that you and your team is doing such an amazing job on, it started in the schools. It started with school counselors saying we have to keep secrets from parents because parents are abusive and unsafe. If that did not exist, the transgender trafficking bill would not exist. Because if you allow these school counselors to seed the idea that parents can be unsafe and abusive because they don't agree that a child should go through irreversible transgender drugs or surgeries, if you even at a little bit buy into that idea, okay? If you buy into that idea, then it only stands to reason and logic that states like Illinois or California or the other 14 states that passed the transgender trafficking bill, it only states the reason then that those states must protect those kids from those horrible parents. So if the horrible parents in Indiana or Florida or Texas, those kids are dying because they don't have a law to separate the child. So we must welcome them because we have to save them. So now when you cross into our state lines, we don't reunite you with the parents. That only happens because the school started it first. And the school started it first because they weaponize people's kindness. Don't you want kids to be accepting? And none of us said, wait a minute, through whose lens? And Jen always talks about this. She talks about this really great. She talks about through whose lens. So when someone tells you, we just want kids to be accepting, through whose lens? Right. Through that guy's lens?
Right. Yeah.
Or are we talking about through your grandmother's lens? That's two different things. So you got to ask yourself through whose lens when they say, and this is all these words like bigots and everything else that you have here.
Yeah. And I wanted to offer you the opportunity for Courage is a Habit to welcome Rep. and Stava Murray on to challenge you, Alvin, on your
sure,
your messaging, and to see if maybe you've got it wrong, Alvin. Maybe you've got it wrong. Maybe Anne has something to teach you. So maybe perhaps you'd like to invite her and go on record to see where you're wrong on this trans trafficking issue.
You know what? I had addressed her one time, and then she ran and never addressed me again. So
yeah, she won't. She's a chicken.
Representative Murray, listen, if you want to get on a one-on-one, do a live stream, you can host it. I can host it. It makes no difference to me. The only thing I ask is two things. Okay. The only thing I ask is two things. And this offer goes out to any rep, to any activist, any transgender cultist. 90 minutes. And I can share my screen at will. So you can't stop me from sharing my screen. Just like the courtesy I give you, you get on a live stream that I host, you can share anything you want. You can share anything you want. It goes right up on screen. So that's the only two stipulations I have. I don't care if you bring two people. I don't care if you host it. If you come on my live stream, it's always going to be one-on-one. I can go on the thing. It can be 2-on-1. It can be 3-on-1. It makes no difference to me. But
well, there you go.
90 minutes, and then I have to share my screen. The reason why I have those two stipulations is this. I have to share my screen for obvious reasons, because I need to share evidence, which is what you guys hide from. The 90 minutes, the reason why I need 90 minutes is because the transgender cult, and by extension, the critical race theory and any of these things, they only sound good the first 10 minutes. If you only have a 10 minutes or 5, they can start talking about kids dying, and they're trying to push the emotional blackmail.
Yeah,
so,
the same hyperbole.
The same, right, to try to get you in this defensive. No, I want kids to feel safe. No, I want kids to feel belonging. No. I want everyone to feel safe and included. They want to get you in that role so they can roll you, and that you're just in this emotional blackmail turmoil.
Right.
The reason why I say 90 minutes, I'll take an hour, but if I'm on your platform, I want 90 minutes, is because I let you go first. And after the first 10 minutes, it's my turn. And I take my time to dismantle you. I don't want this to go fast. I want 90 minutes so I can torture you.
It's a slow cook.
You can't run. You stay
I love
there,
it.
And there's no gaslighting. There's no moving the goalposts. There's no deconstruction. There's no false equivalency. None of that works on me.
I love it.
You get on live stream with me for 90 minutes. You can go first. But once your emotional blackmail wears out in 10 minutes, then it's my turn.
That's perfect. Well, anyone who believes in this notion of a trans child or gender affirming care or legislation that would call parents child abusers who stand in the gap between medicalizing their children, go talk to Alvin. He'll give you a platform. And I know there are plenty of people who want to shout from the rooftops their ideology, Alvin. So you're like the perfect platform to do it. That's a lot of time. A lot of time for
we mouth off a lot. We're lying. We're misinformation. We need to be educated. Then come educate me. Come show me where we're lying. Look, we have everything out there, right? So it's not we're hiding anything. So you guys anybody that says we're lying, go to the Courage is a Habit catalog, pick anything in our catalog and show us where we're lying. That's easy offer. And you know what? Here's the thing that always gets me. If you think Awake, if you think Courage is a Habit's lying, we're misinformation, wouldn't it be so easy and so great that you get on a live stream? Again, this is a live stream. There's no pre-editing here, right? So we can't cut it and edit it and make us look good. It's a live stream. Kind of like you saw, your thing went out and we're both sitting here. It's not very smooth.
You gotta adapt.
So there's no hiding here. So if you think we're lying, if you think we're putting out misinformation, why don't you pick something? Look at this catalog. You can pick anything you want from this catalog and show where we're lying. Show where we're lying.
Yeah, so I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
CourageIsAHabit.org.
Yeah. So for example, someone will come on if they say, oh, you're lying. You're lying about children getting puberty blockers right away. They say that all the time. Children are not getting puberty blockers. It takes a long time to get puberty blockers. Well, if you click on tools, we have something there that says children are getting puberty blockers real fast. So come and tell us where we're lying. It's right there. 1, 2, 3, the third on the third line, transgender line number 1. The one right over to the right. One more.
Heart of the matter. Oh, this one.
This one here, yeah. So someone will come on and say, oh, it takes a long time. It takes a long time to get puberty blockers. It takes a long time to get cross-sex hormones. Then come say that to my face. And then I will pull this up. And all this is just screenshots, if you go down, of hospitals going, the first 60 minutes, the first 90 minutes, we're going to do this. We're going to Yale, Philadelphia, Planned Parenthood. So come say it to my face. Come say that we're lying, that children are getting puberty blockers, but it takes a long time. It takes years, and it's a rigorous process.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You know what? This is a really good opportunity. I was going to talk about this on this live stream anyways, but Stop the Harm database. It's the first and only of its kind in the country to compile proven by state, proven hospitals, clinicians that are doing this medicalization of children. And so when you go to Illinois, it shows how just since 2019, now granted, Lurie Children's Hospital with their gender clinic opened in 2013. They've gotten millions and millions of dollars from the Pritzker Foundation. So in 2013 is when they started this, but this data for the Stop the Harm goes back to 2019. Yeah. Right. So it's not a whole glimpse of the medicalization of children, right. But just going back to 2019, and this is not entirely comprehensive, right? This is just what they could guarantee based on certain billing codes that go through the health insurance and Medicaid. It does not count out of pocket payees. It does not count some of these more murky billing codes or the ones that come from outpatient clinics and primary care doctors. This is just from the hospitals. Right. So hundreds of children, Alvin, in the state of Illinois have had the prescriptions written for puberty blockers, have had surgery, have had the medicalization. Yeah. These are children. These are minors with growing bodies. And any parent who would have said, I do not want my child to be this statistic and be harmed, Rep. Stava Murray wanted to consider you a child abuser with 4876. And we stopped that, Alvin, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for Do No Harm. StopTheHarmDatabase.com, and you can go to Illinois, you can go to any state around the country and see where they have dug up through an intensive dive, proven medicalization and sterilization of children.
They've done such a good job, and thank God for organizations like theirs. They've done such a good job, but seriously, like what you said, though, these numbers is well underreported because the majority of surgeries are out of pocket. So we will never truly know until we see the devastation a few years from now when their suicide just ramps. And in the next 3 to 5 years, we will see a massive critical mass of suicides. Because these kids that are getting their breast chopped off, they're getting bottom surgery, they're getting their penis chopped off. By the time they get to be their early 20s, when their brain settles and they realize what they've done to themselves, there's going to be this critical mass of suicides, and it'll be so horrible that even the mainstream media won't be able to cover for it. And people will be asking why. But of course, there's going to be a lot of gaslighting and memory holding and going, no, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Who knows? And the school's going to try to back off from it. But that's, things like this is why they hate us so much. This is why they want to shut down free speech. They don't want all these receipts out there, but you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
No, you can't. You can't. And I will say that when you look at Illinois, actually, if I go back to this really, really quickly, I just want to show you guys, when you go to click the deeper dive on the Illinois trend lines, and I was talking to January Littlejohn this morning by text because she's with Do No Harm, amazing parent advocate. I said, this is actually a very positive snapshot because you're seeing the decline now. You're seeing a decline starting around 2022 to present, where this is the result of Courage is a Habit, Awake Illinois, national advocacy organizations telling parents the truth.
That's right.
And God bless the detransitioners for speaking to the harms that they have suffered. Chloe Cole, Laura Becker, all of these beautiful, brave souls that have been harmed. Now their voices are being heard. And so this decline is hopeful. As much as it's hard to see these numbers again,
Yeah.
knowing they're underreported.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the downward trend is a
Yeah.
very positive thing for the state of Illinois. I know that so many people across the state have spoken boldly, telling their peers, their neighbors, their family what the reality is behind the harms of medicalizing and sterilizing children. So we need to keep that downward trend going to the point that this is no longer practiced at all in the United States of America.
And if I can just add one more thing before I bounce on behind what you just said about making this not just a downward trend, but eliminating it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to that one graphic with the reject inclusive language. So people, rightly so, when parents hear about this, they're going to go, what can I do? I can pull my kids. I can do these things, from schools, or I can make sure that they don't meet with the school counselors, things like that. I know it's really, sometimes when you hear people like us talk about things, it can be quite overwhelming. And I try to keep that in mind, because if you're a regular busy person, especially if you're a parent with young children, you barely have time to go take a shower, and eat and drink a hot coffee. It can be very overwhelming. And so what we don't want to do is, I don't want to introduce all this outrage with no outlet, because outrage without outlet inadvertently creates hopelessness. And that's the last thing we want to do. And because you and I both know a lot of this is happening because people have not taken action. They'll say, Shannon, we're praying for you. Thank you for what you're doing. I can't speak up. It's like, okay, that's not acceptable anymore,
No.
So here's what everybody can do. You don't need a platform. You don't need a live stream. You don't need an organization. You don't need a C3. You don't need anything. You don't need a Facebook page. I mean, other than your own Facebook page. Here is how we got here. The transgender cult didn't get here. There was no one big piece of legislation. There was no one big event. There was no big magical strategy that they used to get us all here, where we literally have to have a conversation to go, is this beautiful little girl burning the wrong body? Should we chop off their body parts? This is so evil that it's, even for us doing this, it's hard to go, is this really what we talk about now? But this evil didn't get here because of any one or any 50 things. They got here by starting with language. You can't say this and you can't say that. You can't say that to that person. What if you're white, so you can't say that to that guy because he's black? Or you're a woman, so you can't say that to this thing. You're a man, so you can't say that to this. So this is how it started. So in order to reverse that, we have to then go back to how it started, which is language. Inclusive language, people saying you can't say that, you can't call someone that. That's a tactic to control your speech. Because if they can control your speech, they can control your thoughts. And if they can control your thoughts, they will control your behavior. And policies and evil people like Murray, they're a downstream from culture. They're not upstream.
That's 100%.
So when she can try to even push something as evil as 4876, because the culture, she's confident about the culture supporting her, which is true.
Right. Yeah. Pritzker and the Democrats and, her woke minions. Yeah. She thinks that she's invisible. Yeah.
So culture is made up of behavior, a collective behavior among the citizens, whether you're a resident of a small town or a county or a state or the country. It's made up of behaviors. So this is why you have to reject inclusive language. You have to be okay with hurting feelings. These people's feelings are not your concern. Your concern is to protect your children and your own family. Them being offended, them being, I don't feel seen, I don't feel accepted. Like this moron here. It doesn't matter what her feelings are. It doesn't matter what a trans person knows my feelings. That's your feelings. If you want to be hurt and oppressed, then go be hurt and oppressed. We have to have the courage to be able to say that. So you have to, every person can do it. It means that when you go to a coffee shop and someone has a he, him pronoun, and he's obviously a girl, or as a boy that's obviously, and he's like she, her, don't do it. Because a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to start anything. I don't want to rock the boat. It is they depending on that.
Right. Same thing with sports. Same thing with the girls that are now saying, I'm not going to play on this team if I have to play with a biological male. I'm not going to do it. They're starting to put their foot down. They're starting to embrace exclusion, to your point.
They're starting to embrace exclusion. I saw Riley, she's been going around really supporting that, and she's done an amazing job. And Riley Gaines, and so everybody can do it. But the moment you go, oh, it's just my work wants me to put a pronoun in I guess I'll just put pronoun in my bio. Every time you do something small, you're like, I'm a web designer. I work in accounting. What's it going to change if I don't put a pronoun in my bio? All I'm doing is bringing myself a lot of trouble. But then you can't turn around and go, how do we get here? How do we get here? We got here because every single person did exactly that. You shut yourself up. You don't want to speak. So reject inclusive language. Reject inclusive language. Language controls your thoughts control your behavior, and your behavior controls culture. And politics is just a downstream from culture. So you cannot fight people like Murray. I know she said, oh, I'm not going to bring the bill back. Of course she's going to bring the bill back. Of course she will. She's lying. She's freaking lying. Of course she's going to bring the bill back. She's going to keep trying until that bill passes. Because so you cannot, if you want to beat someone like her, you got to make her beliefs completely shameful and unwelcoming in the culture.
Mm-hmm. That's right. She's embarrassed right now. She's embarrassed right now, Alvin, because we have
a slam dunk.
Yeah, and she's embarrassed because, to your point about these tools here that you've offered, the language contamination, we have absolutely dissected her language. Mm-hmm. We have called her out on it, mm-hmm. and people have figured this out. So yeah, this bill, if she tries it again, we're ready to go.
Same thing.
We'll keep hammering and spanking it away, right? Because enough people are waking up to this, and they're done with it. They're done.
Right.
So I think that your tools that you're offering people here are phenomenal. courageasahabit.org. You guys are doing great work. I'm so grateful you came on to scorch Rep Stava Murray and all of her wicked agenda. So go to courageasahabit.org to get more of these tools. And Alvin, I thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You keep up the good work. And oh, by the way, if you're on courageasahabit.org, we just opened our shop. So if you click on shop,
here.
You get your hats, so you get your t-shirts and all that stuff. And so
we spend a lot of time
merch, making sure they're very comfortable and wear them all the time.
You got good merch.
Now I'm testing this hat out. So this is a sample. So we don't have this one up yet, but we've got the other hats up. So everybody check it out. It helps with our mission, and we appreciate it very much.
Of course. So courageasahabit.org and click store to get some of their merch. You guys are awesome. You're so cool. All right. Well, hey, have a good one. Have a good weekend, Alvin. And thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me. You keep it up, and you keep living in her head. It's so funny. It's great.
I know. It's so funny. All right. Take care. Bye. All right. So that was Alvin. Thanks to Alvin for coming on. I'm going to just show you a couple more things here, a couple more slides of things that I want to keep you posted about, everyone here in Illinois. So let me share this here. 1 second. And thanks for dealing with our bit of a technical difficulty. Twitter totally knocked us off. Oh, well. So we're back. Election day, Tuesday, November 5th. Vote Republican down ballot. Awake Illinois has endorsed the Republican ballot. And it's kind of wild. Looking at my ballot, I noticed that they no longer have Democrat under the candidates' names, like Lauren Underwood, my congressional rep. They have Democratic. You see that there? Democratic. So they've replaced the noun of Democrat to an adjective of Democratic. Totally gnarly and ridiculous. We could go down the rabbit hole as to why they did that. I know that there's a reason why, but there you have it. So vote. Thanks to everyone who is doing civic engagement, outreach, working on election day, door knocking. So many people across the state are working really hard at that. So thanks for volunteering your time. Want to remind all of you that the Awake Illinois 2024 Sex Ed Analysis Report is out at the website. Take a look at it, see what your district is up to, ask them the questions, and obviously, we have hammered this. You guys need to keep doing it, though. Let me get to this. The opt-out forms. Let me pull those up. The opt-out forms at awakeil.com/forms. Get these submitted. Every year you have to do it. Let anyone entrusted with your child know that whether they are a counselor, a teacher, a staffer, after-school caregiver, whoever it is, that you know your parental rights and that you have stipulated that you do not want your children exposed to gender ideology, to discussions on prescription drugs, etc. So please submit these forms, super important. The Do No Harm organization, we mentioned this a bit earlier, Stop the Harm database. Please take a look at this. Do not let people gaslight you. Hundreds and hundreds of children just since 2019, and this is a very conservative estimate. We know it's a lot more than this, but even the 418 sex change patients via these children's hospitals and hospitals across the state, we're devastated and heartbroken that this is where we are. But the good news is that through advocacy and through you speaking truth, sharing all the resources that are available with your family, with your friends, coworkers, peers, church groups, etc., the sooner we can protect more children from this harm. So I think that's almost it. Opt-out forms. Yeah, I think that about covers it. So thanks for listening to our dive into why Rep. Stava Murray is deflecting on her record of being an anti-parent, anti-child candidate. We absolutely, endorse Erin Porter for the 81st House District. I think she's nervous. And I hope that all of you in that district, the Downers Grove area, that you spread the word that a normal guy, Erin Porter, will protect your parental rights. And this pretty much, I think, is just a way to wrap it up. Anne believes that parents are child abusers for not agreeing to this mutilation. And Erin Porter respects parents who choose to protect their kids from this mutilation. So we're going to share these graphics at awakeil.com. It's going to go into a blog post today with this live stream recording. And we're also going to share the Do No Harm database links and also the WPATH doctor lists. So WPATH is an organization that has been spotlit for leaning into so much of this medicalization and sterilization harm. Doctors in Illinois are on this list, and WPATH has a pretty dark underbelly. They knew that their patients were not faring any better after getting these treatments, that they were faring worse, actually, and they have not disclosed that publicly. But it was discovered, and if you are a parent of a young child, older child, doesn't matter. Look at the lists, look at the database, and avoid these clinics, avoid these hospitals, and avoid these physicians that could potentially be aiming to harm your child with this terrible agenda known as gender affirming care and transgender medicine. So protect your children, stand boldly for them. You are not alone. There is a growing army every day of more and more people who are speaking boldly for the kids. So thanks for tuning into this live stream. And I'll end with, please keep updated at awakeil.com. Protect your kids. If you are in the faith community, please preach the truth, share all these resources, and get involved. But it's been great spending this time with you on Friday. Thanks for tuning in. Reach out to us if you have any questions. And onward. Have a good weekend. Take care, everyone.
I really hope you enjoyed it. We had a ball making it. Thank you very much.